Hey Orangutan, how's it going? Pretty tired, still waking up. Alright, I gotta sort of think about how we should structure this thing. The one thing that's pretty obvious is just moving this function into a different script. Where is it? I think I should probably organize my scripts into folders so I can keep track of them. We have a lot of them now. Okay. I mean, there already is a Twitch function script in here, so. But it does say do not edit. So maybe I'll just leave that alone and make my own. Okay. Those could all just be in the same script. I don't know why I have 3 separate scripts. What the hell is clear cells? Do I even use that? Distance check. Is that some isometric thing? Flags. That's like a debug tool for pathing. Yeah, I have a path and a pathing script just to be extra confusing. Can't even really remember which one is which off the top of my head. I think path is the actual pathfinding, and pathing is like all of the stuff that we have to do before we do actual pathfinding. I don't know. Reposition. Wait, is it relocate? Relocate is target relocation. Repositioning is for repositioning when you don't have line of sight, I believe. Well, target relocation is also still related to pathfinding, I suppose. You know, that would be... It would be terrible. I mean, you definitely couldn't do that, not in this project, but it would obviously be a lot more performant if you just kind of finish the current path that you were on, and then if the thing that you were pathing to has moved, then you just sort of path to it again. But we don't do that. Every time the thing that you're pathing to moves into a new cell of the navigation grid, we end your current path and recalculate pathing so that you kind of look like you're following it or whatever, which is kind of necessary just for how this game works. But obviously that's a lot of pathing going on. If you've got a lot of things trying to path to things that are moving, that quickly results in a lot of pathfinding. No, that's target relocation. What the fuck is relocate? Oh, I think relocate might actually have something to do with level transition. Like when you go to a new level and then we have to relocate all of the humans into the right place in the new level. I think that's what it is. So actually this target relocation is target relocation, as the name implies. Vector 2, that's just like a function. Maybe I should have a group just for functions, but then again, there are subcategories of functions, in a sense. I think I should have a group for all of my procgen stuff. Flood fill and flood search. Do I even use these anymore? I can't remember what I do and don't use at this point. What the hell is map value? It's something I don't even use apparently. Okay. Attributes. Attributes are just attributes. It may eventually become necessary to split all of the different attributes into different scripts, like the human attributes, the attributes of wolves, the attributes of this. Having it all in one script is already getting a little bit difficult to navigate. And there's going to be like many, many more types of creatures. Auto cell. What is that? What? Oh, I think this is the thing that builds the tile map. Yeah. So that's a procgen thing. No. Interrupts. Does that have two R's in it? Interrupts. Not according to how I've written it there. Okay. Bleed interrupt. So I would have interrupts and effects. Effects. HTN is an interrupt script. It's the original. It's the OG. Game over. I have a game over script. What a useful thing. So I guess. So this is where I didn't really understand how to. What the better way of doing this would be to use functions, right? You would use a script to define the functions, and then you would use the functions. I think I am using scripts as if they were functions, essentially, which might be like the old way of doing things. But I'm not sure. Like, instead of calling a function, I will call a script. But I think that's basically the same thing, with just like kind of one extra redundant step in the sequence, basically. Shrine interrupt. What the hell is relocate? Oh, you know, I said what I think it is. Oh, command. That's a Twitch thing. So I should probably rename this script like Twitch commands or something. But I'm already using this script now. But only in literally like one place, so that's easy to do, right? Yeah. Let's rename this SC Twitch commands. Now the thing is that this isn't what you think it is. It's not a script that contains Twitch commands. It's a thing that processes commands when people use them. But technically the commands don't actually exist anywhere. It's not like they exist. It's just, we just process a chat message. So it both is and it isn't Twitch commands. I don't know what it is, okay. It's undefinable. It's transcended definitions. Twitch commands. And then I just have to go to this line and rename this to, oh, it's done it automatically. Yeah, GameMaker's pretty nice sometimes. Okay. Allocation? I think carpenter allocation's the only one in a script, even though we also, what kind of other allocation do we have? Worshipper allocation, maybe? Although, I wouldn't really call it allocation. Allocation is when we allocate a task to somebody. That's different from joining a party or a group, which is kind of what the worshippers and hunters do. It's sort of a different thing, isn't it? Catch fire. Catch fire? Is yeah, we don't even use this anymore, do we? Because we don't light fires inside of tents anymore. We used to do that, and the tent would have a chance to catch fire, but this is kind of obsolete now, unless we ever bring that back, but I don't think we will. Something I noticed yesterday, which I rarely get to see because I don't really run simulations for long enough, is the humans were all huddling around the fire when they got cold. Granted, it took them like nearly a week to get cold enough to do that. But it was spring in the temperate forest where it's really not that cold, so it makes sense, I guess. They would have been a lot colder if it was winter or if we were in the tundra or something. But it was cool to see it, and yeah. That was one of the reasons behind the change, is because you can see that. It's a bit different when they just disappear inside of a tent. It's more visually interesting when they all sort of huddle around the fire. Detail tiles. I don't know if I use this script anymore, to be honest with you. I think I might have built this into... No, I don't, do I? This is obsolete. It's some old thing. I could have like a category for old scripts that don't get used anymore. So we don't use catch fire, we don't use detail tiles. Because you never delete code, right? You might need it. Brassenham line I don't use for anything. Flood fill and flood search. Now these are just functions, really. And I believe I do use flood fill. I'm not sure if I use flood search. Do I? I don't know anymore. I haven't done procgen stuff in a while. I've forgotten everything. Okay. Distance check. Oh, I vaguely remember this. Why does this exist? Oh. Is that the only reason? I think maybe it's just because some things have a mask and some things don't, right? So this is just a distance check that can handle for both of those. That doesn't make any sense because the built-in distance check handles that already, I think. Yeah, distance to object measures from the edge of the object, which would be the edge of the mask if it had one, or the edge of the sprite if it didn't. So I don't even know why this exists anymore. Do I use it for anything? That would be a good indicator. No. So it's, again, it's some obsolete thing. Maybe I would have like a game group. I don't really know what else to call it, but like for things like the demo script, end game, game over, stuff like that. So yeah, you can see how really a lot of this stuff is stuff that just should be functions, really. But I've kind of used scripts, haven't I? Oh yeah, that's some old thing as well. Okay, I will make an attributes group. Maybe even the room definitions would, I don't know. Attributes can relate to characters. Sure, well, no. Would those be characteristics? Characteristics of an environment or attributes of a person? I don't think you have attributes of an environment. I mean, that technically I think that makes sense, but it's not what people would usually say, I don't think. Attributes. So I think I would have another folder which is like levels or maps or rooms, or probably go with levels just to avoid confusion. I mean, I've called it define rooms because that's what it does. It provides the room definitions. Technically, this is to do with procgen, really. Kind of. Yeah. I think it sort of just goes with procgen. That's going to confuse the hell out of me when I'm going to be looking for it at some point, and I don't know, maybe I'll remember. Bleed effect, fire effect. Load code would, I guess, maybe fall into game. Power costs, interesting. Yeah, where would that go? This is some old obsolete script. I was thinking at one point, about having the animals on a separate navigation grid as a means of preventing them from entering camp. But I was obviously lost in the sauce when I was thinking that, because if you honestly just think about it for more than 2 seconds, you can quickly see the problem with that, right? Sure, there are times when it's kind of good if the animals avoid camp, but if they can never enter camp, then we've got a real problem, haven't we? And it would almost be like you would need to swap them back and forth between the 2 different grids depending on what type of action they're performing. Are they attacking a human? Well, they should probably be able to chase them into camp. Are they navigating to a stream? Well, then they should probably go around the camp. Yeah, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter anymore because the animals used to get spooked by the humans all the time. Like whenever they saw any human, they would run away, right? And then as there were more and more animals in the map, eventually it just got to the point where everyone was constantly just running around screaming because they were constantly being spooked all the time, and I think the animals were even spooking each other as well, so it was this big chain reaction. And eventually it was just like, okay, the animals are just going to have to like not care about the humans unless the humans are actively trying to hunt them or something like that. So they sort of peacefully coexist now, and the animals will come up to you and get really close to, well, not to you, but to the humans. You know, they're not like scared of the humans. But they will run away if they spot like a human hunter like trying to sneak up on them or something, though. So they kind of have that discernment. Fall off map, forbid cells. Forbid cells is technically to do with pathing. Or pathfinding, isn't it? Because it's the navigation grid. Fall off map, that is for procgen. Load code. I mean, I wouldn't call it game, really. I think we would have like a save load. You can't put a slash in there. We would have like a loading category. This is the thing that generates the noise map. This is the actual Perlin noise. Yeah, I didn't write this. No surprises there. I absolutely stole this. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Look at this thing. What even is that? Alien hieroglyphics. Power costs, I guess, is like game. That's part of like, well, this is more like game processing stuff. The game over, end game, demo. Power cost is, it's more like game rules rather than game processing, isn't it? It's not attributes, though. Not really sure where that one should go. Relocate. Yes, so this is what I thought it was. I think it kind of belongs in game because it's something to do with like level transition processing. Tick. That's kind of game processing, I suppose. Tick rates and ticks and things. Carpenter allocation. Is that game processing? Probably. Particle cleanup. Okay, that's like some visual thing. Look how many freaking particle systems and emitters and things I have. It's a nightmare. Hopefully there won't be too many. There's going to be a lot more systems and probably a lot more emitters. I don't know. There's definitely going to be a lot more particles added to the game. Hopefully not too many more emitters, and hopefully no more systems, because every time I add a new one, it's more stuff I have to manage. Particles. I feel like you would just have your own script for that, really. So I have like a particles object. I'm not sure that's even necessary. Wouldn't it make more sense to have all of your particle stuff in a script that just gets executed once when you launch the game, and then you've defined all of your particles and your systems and emitters and everything? No, it does need to be an object because they do get updated. It's not like they're static. The particles blow in the wind depending on the wind speed and stuff, and it all has to sort of update in close to real time. So no, particles, particles. It does need to be an object for that. Set tile map. So this is the thing that sets the tile map. Big surprise. Once we've generated it, I suppose. We don't really generate it in place. We generate a tile map and then we smush it onto the tiles. I guess that's proc-gen stuff, really. Snap? That's just a thing that snaps stuff to the grid. I found it funny that D-Boy picked up on that, and in his mind it was a problem. His game does work differently, though. I don't know if things do snap to the grid in his game. Certainly they don't path on a grid. They seem to path like it more sort of freeform. As far as I could tell, anyway. I'm not really. Yeah, they seem to generate all kinds of paths at like weird angles and things. You know, it's not just 8 possible directions like they're snapped to a grid. But anyway, he like was placing down the constructs, and he noticed that they would like jump a little bit because they snap to the grid, and he was like, they're not actually going where I'm placing them, you know, they're jumping a little bit. And he saw that, it seemed like he saw that as a bad thing. Obviously the way that pathfinding works in GameMaker, we need everything to be snapped to the grid like that in order to properly calculate like how to path around them and stuff. I mean, you don't need to do it. You could get kind of sloppy with it and just all it would do would be like if it was like half in a cell, it would still have to flag that cell as forbidden. Even if it was just 1 pixel into a cell, it would flag that whole cell as forbidden. So there would be like a big chunk of space next to the object which couldn't be walked through, and they would have to go all the way around it. That's why I snapped everything to the grid, to avoid that. So there's no kind of like empty spaces that can't be walked through. I was really proud of it. It was I mean, it's how I thought it should function. I actually spent quite a lot of time doing all the math and everything to figure out the cursor position, to decide whether it needs to snap left, right, up or down or diagonal. Or it's so stupid, right? It's like you have to actually do that. It's ridiculous. There's so many things like that you just wouldn't think about, but you have to do all of those things. But otherwise, they don't get done. Yeah, I forget who said this, but there's a quote that goes, "What they don't tell you about game development is that you have to do everything." And as I always say, the number one lesson that I learned from game development is just whatever you do, don't ever make a game. Just don't do it. Isn't that weird that I call my buildings constructs, but constructs are a thing? Like in the language, or in programming in general, constructs and structs are a thing. So I've accidentally introduced some confusion there. Vector 2 is just a function. This is not specifically related to constructs. What would you call this? Is it just game processing, really? I don't know. I'm putting it there. That's the thing that turns stuff transparent when the humans walk behind it, so you can still see them. You know, something I noticed is that I haven't updated the spawn system, because there was like a portal stone. Actually, I think it was an expansion stone, and it was like hidden behind a bush, basically. You could barely see it peeking out from behind a bush. I have something in the spawn system that prevents trees and bushes from spawning too close to shrines, but possibly I overlooked doing that for the new portal stones and expansion stones. So I think trees and bushes might be able to spawn like right next to them, which obscures them from view, which I want to avoid. I want them always to be visible. It's also a pathfinding problem, because that means that the cells right next to it are forbidden, which means there are less available cells to attempt to path to, which is important because GameMaker's pathfinding sucks. So we need as many free cells to attempt to path to as possible. I don't think they've made any improvements to the pathfinding, so it's probably just as bad as it always was. I just don't think they ever expected people to really make maps this big. I think GameMaker's more intended for like more like single screen platformers and that type of thing, where you go from screen to screen and each room is quite small. That's also evidenced by the fact that the maximum size of a room is like 16,000 pixels by 16,000 pixels or something. Basically, the maps in my game are the full size, or the maximum size that a room can be. That turned out to be the thing that dictated how large the maps were going to be. We just made them as big as we could. So there's several different ways that I'm just like bumping up against the engine limitations, because I just don't think this engine was ever really intended to build life sims in. I think this might be some obsolete script now. Do we use this for anything anymore? No. Thank God. I vaguely remember that stuff and it was a nightmare. So the spawn system is, I'm gonna separate it out from the proc gen stuff, just for clarity. I think it's better. So everything related to spawning stuff can have its own group. Snap. Didn't I say that Snap was kind of game processing? Power costs, populate fishing spots. Yeah. Spawn fishing spots, in other words. But I decided to use the word populate in this one instance. Power costs. This is just a function. So these three are just functions, and this is where we define the power costs of all the miracles in the game. I almost feel like I should have a definitions group which contains attributes, power costs, and room definitions. Maybe I'll just do that. I mean, that's not even what definition means, is it? Or can it mean that? I'm defining things. I am defining things. Not in the sense of like giving a word a definition or something, but I am defining things. Oh well, that's how I think of it in my head, I guess. That's how I've always been doing it, so that's what I'll remember. And the other one, did I put it in procgen? Yeah, I would put that in definitions. Alright, there we go. My scripts are all kind of organized. That helps a bit. It's kind of amazing that I've been able to do all of this, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. Like that's. I mean, hopefully that's like inspiring in some way. Just to like start doing things, if you haven't already, because I've managed to make a God Sim game, and I have no idea what I'm doing. That can be the problem, like, with perfectionism or whatever. It's like you feel like you've got to do it right or something, so you never actually start. But you've just got to start and get everything wrong for a really long time before you eventually figure out how to get everything right. That's a lot of people you'll notice are like, they never really do anything. They never really try anything new or like challenge themselves or get outside of their comfort zone because they think like they're going to be embarrassed or something. And so they just never really grow or change or do anything as a person. And I think it's a dangerous trap to fall into. And they'll often like, you know, if they see you trying something and you make a mistake or whatever, they'll laugh at you and try and make you feel bad or whatever. But that's because they're sort of stuck in their own minds. So you just got to do it, you know. It might be difficult, but just, you know, if you can, just don't even worry about it and just start doing things. Start trying stuff. You know, why not? Doesn't really matter. People will try and make like, there's actually no such thing as mistakes in reality. There's only growth and learning. Like the concept of a mistake, it is just a concept. It doesn't really exist. That's not really a thing. Mistakes don't really exist, so don't worry about making mistakes because it's not real. You just have to like learn and grow, and it's all part of the process. But there are people who will try and make you like feel bad about it or whatever, or try and like hold it against you forever or something. But yeah, I don't know, I guess they're just like mentally ill or something, so I wouldn't really worry about it. It can suck if you've got like a bunch of those people around you or whatever. I would try to get away from them. They're obviously not like a very positive influence, or whatever, like not the kind of people you want in your life. Okay, so Yeah, now I've got to think about... I think I moved that one into another script already, right? Twitch. No, these are sprites, dude. Scripts. Twitch. Got my Twitch functions as opposed to the Twitch functions that are built into the core system, which I've been instructed not to edit, so I'm not editing it. I could have probably just added this in there, but you know, it's fine. I'll have my own Twitch function script with hookers and blackjack. Okay. So now I've got to figure out how to restructure the stuff that we did yesterday. I'd rather not, but unfortunately we have to, because I didn't realize this at the time, but when you load a save, we actually destroy and recreate the menu object. And I think the only legitimate reason for that is so that we can save and load the difficulty setting. So rather than changing everything I did yesterday, it might actually be an easier solution to just save and load the difficulty settings some other way. And then we have a persistent menu object that never gets destroyed and recreated. It never actually gets saved and loaded, it's just persistent, right? It's just always there. The scary part is, what if there is some other reason that I'm not aware of that it has to be destroyed and recreated, or saved and loaded? But I don't think there is. I'm pretty sure the only reason that I wanted to do that was to save and load the difficulty setting, and as a byproduct of that, it also saves and loads your menu selection. So if you go back to the main menu, it will still have all of your choices selected, like whichever level you chose, whichever difficulty. Well, obviously I was just saying about the difficulty. But it would even remember like which sort of button you were hovering over, that type of thing. Normally you can't do that, because you have to actually like press new game and all that stuff to start a game. But I have some developer tools set up or whatever where I can hit T to start a game in test mode and stuff. So if I had, don't know why I'm telling you all this, if I had options selected on the main menu and then I started a game with test mode and then I saved and loaded and quit back to the main menu, it would still be on test mode. It would still be on options. I would still have options selected. Same thing if I save and quit and then launch the game again, then load my save and then quit back to the main menu, it would still have options selected, right? Because it just saves your selections on the main menu. But I'm not sure games do that. I don't think that's really a thing, is it? Of course we want to save and load your difficulty setting. Well, the weird thing about that is it almost needs to be a separate thing. I think the problem that is right now that it's not a separate thing. The difficulty setting is the selection that you make on the main menu. It's not like... How would I explain that? There's no separation there. It's not like I'm doing a playthrough on easy mode, or it's not like I'm doing a hard mode playthrough. How do you explain this? I mean, you obviously are doing that. Oh my god. Do you see what I'm saying? The selection is the difficulty. It's not like selecting hard mode from the menu is going to cause the game to like run in hard mode or something. The selection, it's impossible to actually explain what I'm trying to explain right now, isn't it? I just can't do it. Language is failing me. But what I'm saying is we could separate it out so that you select difficulty on the menu, and then based on what your difficulty selection is, we start the game in a certain difficulty. There we go. I think I explained it. There's a separation there, and then when you save and load, you save and load the difficulty of the game. Is there any reason to do this? The only reason to do it is so that the correct difficulty shows up on the HUD, the UI in game. Because I'm pretty sure I display the difficulty setting in the top left corner, which we probably won't even do in the final game, so it may be completely unnecessary. So what would happen? What would happen previously is when we didn't save and load the menu object is that all of the settings would go back to default, right? Well, except for your like sound settings, because those are saved in a separate object which deals with sound stuff, I believe. But the thing about that is that doesn't even make sense either. Well, it does make sense. It's just that normally that stuff wouldn't be saved into your save file, it would be saved into a config file. Your config is different from your save, right? Because when you load your game, you want your settings to be what they were. Well, no, you don't. That's unrelated. Oh, someone's at the door. My Amazon order arrived a day early, which is nice. And I received a letter saying they're going to put my rent up, which is not nice. Oh my god, dude. I get this fucking game released. What a nightmare. What am I supposed to do? They keep putting my bills up, now they're putting my rent up. I'm not making any more money from anywhere. Alright, well, hopefully I'll pull through somehow. I've made it this far. Okay, what am I doing? Oh yeah, this save load thing causing the reauthentication. Yeah. So your options should be saved in a separate config file. We don't do that right now. Excuse me. So but I think the menu would default normally. I don't really know, actually. I don't really know. In Quake, the difficulty selection is a goddamn level in the game. So it's a bit different, but I could be wrong, but I think ordinarily in video games, if you quit back to the main menu has probably like defaulted out back to like whatever the default selection is, back to like whatever the default difficulty selection is, the default level, stuff like that. I'm not sure that it's common really for the main menu to remember how you left it off, although I'm not sure. I think it would be certainly weird to save and load that stuff, though. Maybe within the context of a single session, if you quit back to the main menu, it would remember your selections. But it doesn't really make sense to save and load that. What it does make sense to save and load in a config file is your, like, config. Hence the name. Like your options, your graphics settings, your audio settings, stuff like that. Difficulty wouldn't be saved in there. So anyway, the reason I started this game is to look at the difficulty. Do I even have it displayed on the overlay anymore? No. So it's completely pointless. Okay. So the reason that I did that in the first place was that you could be playing on hard mode, let's say, and then you would save and load, and then it would say that you were playing on normal difficulty because it would just default back to whatever the default difficulty selection is. And I was like, oh well, I started this game on hard mode, so I'm playing on hard mode. So I'd like the UI to reflect that, even though I've removed it now. So that's why I did it. But other than that, I'm pretty sure it's completely unnecessary to save and load the menu object. So the simplest, what I'm trying to say is that the simplest solution to our problem here is just to not save and load the menu object at all. And then we'll be fine. Because it's a persistent object, it only gets created once, authentication only ever happens the one time when you start the game. Though it's authentication from cache. And I'll update the main menu to include something in the options, which is like Twitch integration enabled / disabled, and authenticate, like an authentication button essentially. I would probably have it to where like you can't enable Twitch integration until you've authenticated, something like that. Like the option is grayed out until you authenticate, you know, something like that. I'm assuming there's a way that we can check if you're authenticated or not and do something along those lines. That's what I'm thinking anyway, but that would be like the final bit of polish, right? Once we get this shit working. Yeah, that's my easiest option, and I don't need to. Now that I don't display the difficulty on the UI, there's literally no reason to save and load the menu object at all, so. We might as well just not do that. It'll still save and load everything else, which was created based on your difficulty selection, so it's not like the difficulty changes. It's not like extra humans spawn in or humans get removed or something, which is the only thing that changes with difficulty right now. See, it saves your selection on the menu, it saves your level selection, and it saves the difficulty. Not anymore, it doesn't. We're getting there. I don't want to say it's the final day, but everything's basically done. Now it's just like the polishing and that's it, just tying everything up really. Add the buttons to the menu so you can do it all. So the user can use it. That always helps. But I might add extra Twitch integration in the future, like so people can do more stuff. But I got the basics that I wanted, so I'm happy for now. Just gotta tie it up. And I think I've just done it basically, because that was the only issue left, is that it was re-authenticating whenever you would load a save, which obviously you don't need to do. It's just a byproduct of how things were set up. See, it automatically authenticates from cache when you launch the game. I'll disable that little pop-up message. You don't really need to see that. I'll add... Currently we just have these sound options. I'll add extra options menus, so one for audio, one for Twitch stuff, one for graphics, etc. You'll be able to go into the Twitch menu, hit like an authenticate button, enable Twitch mode, and and then start your game. And then, oh, wait. No, there is more that I need to do. I need to figure out why Twitch integration doesn't work with saving and loading right now. That's right, I believe it stops working after you load a save. And I'm still not sure as to why. At least I fixed the thing where it would crash if you quit and then started a new game. And that's just because the list of humans was never being cleared, so it would try and assign somebody to a human that no longer exists. And that never ends well. But if I save my game now, and then load my game, it doesn't re-authenticate for no reason, which is really nice. Oh shit. Okay, I've created a new issue now. What's this? Ah, right. It's just I think it's just trying to delete an object that doesn't exist. Oh, yeah. Right, I know what I've done. Right. We deleted the menu object when I loaded the save. But then we never actually loaded it, so the menu object doesn't exist anymore. No. Menu. Just don't do that, basically. There we go. Should be good now. So yeah, I've still got to decipher why it's not working with save loading. That is a confusing one. I thought it was the same reason that it didn't work when you quit and started a new game, because that list wasn't being cleared, but no, it's actually a different issue. So you don't get any error, it just doesn't work. So we're gonna figure that out. Yeah, that's confusing. We're gonna have to diagnose that, because I don't have even the faintest idea of what's causing it right now. But yeah, once this is done, I'll be back to drawing sprites. I want to get all the human sprites done if I can. That'll be really nice. Okay, saving. Loading. Doesn't cause re-authentication. Can I quit without crashing? That's nice. Can I load from the main menu without any issues? Yep. But now, if I'm not mistaken, it probably doesn't work anymore because, well, that's what we have to find out. If I do command join, yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why would that be? Because the humans don't get added to the list when we load the save? That's basically it, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. Oh shit, what's the problem now? Unable to find instance for object. Menu. Why? So I'm still destroying my menu object somehow. But yeah, this, you know, it was never intended to be like a Twitch game. You know, it's not one of those. But a little bit of it's a perfect candidate for Twitch integration. But it's more of just like an optional feature. I think most people will play without it, but it's something that streamers will enjoy. Oh boy, so I'm trying to figure out how my menu object is getting destroyed. It's definitely persistent. Yeah. This place really isn't worth the rent that they're asking for when they increase the rates. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because until I'm officially self-employed and making like good money off of the the game, there's nothing I can really do. You know, it was a miracle that I was able to get anywhere to live at all, because just how it works apparently, or it doesn't work. Basically, I played Black and White as a kid, and saw some other things that sort of influenced me. And I just always had this thought in the back of my mind, just this curiosity as to whether I could build a life sim, basically. And when I graduated from university, where I was actually studying music, I decided to, well, I think I'd already taken I'd already tried like 2 or 3 times before that and kind of given up at some point where I got stuck on something. But I graduated uni and I was like, you know what, I'll have another go at building that God Sim game or whatever. And I'll use GameMaker just because I happen to know a little bit of GML. And it finally stuck on like the 4th try. And here we are, like 3 years down the line, with a nearly complete game on our hands. Somehow. It's kind of a miracle. Menu object 0. What? So somehow my menu object is getting deleted. It probably doesn't get deleted when I start a new game. Of course. Something about loading a save is still causing it to delete the menu object. I don't know why. Yeah, we have a menu object there. Saving, loading. Menu object still there. Quit to the main menu. Obviously there is a menu, so it still exists. But loading... Okay, so there's going to be something in the specific code when you load from the main menu, i.e. like when you press that load game button on the main menu, as opposed to hitting the quick load button in-game. Gonna be in here somewhere. Looks like it might be this one. Why would I be deleting the menu object though? Well, no, it kind of makes sense. I'd be deleting it because we're gonna load. We're gonna load it. We used to load it. And that's normally done in the F6 key press event of the save load object. So where is it being done in this case? Doing game dev? I just always loved making games. Since I was a kid, basically. Always loved making games, always had a fascination with games. And I remember the first time I realized you could make computer games was when I was at a friend's house and he showed me the level editor in a game called Speedy Egbert. And that just blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, you can make the levels? You know, that was like a life-changing moment for me. Oh, look. I'm literally destroying all of the instances. No. I'm destroying self. No, yeah, no. Okay, I'm destroying. Just don't do that and we'll be fine. There we go. Cool. Okay. Problem solved. Give it one more test. And then we can try and fix the Twitch integration with a loaded save. But oh yeah, I already figured that out. I think we can test my theory. Actually, I should just be able to load that save, right? And boom, there we go. Didn't destroy the menu object this time. Awesome. Okay, that's great. And then so when we start a new game, we do spawn. We do the spawn humans script, which and we add all of the spawned adults to this unclaimed humans list so they can be claimed by chatters. We just don't do that when I load a save, basically. I think we probably, hopefully, I am remembering to clear the list. I believe I added that somewhere. Let's just confirm that first. No, that's sprites. Is it in this one? I think it's in the object itself. There we go, DS list clear unclaimed humans. So, I guess the best place to add this would be in load code, object human. So for every human that we load, there's probably something similar that exists already. I would imagine, maybe. There's that, for example. Adding them back onto the worshippers lists. Very similar to that, isn't it? Oh, wait a minute. What is this? It seems it is already here. Okay, I've already done this. Okay, that makes things a lot more confusing. But why is this not working? Global.twitch equals true, which it definitely does. Oh, you know what? They still have the join text above their head, don't they? So that. No, that's not a guarantee that they're on this list. Actually, I don't believe. Yeah, it's just if there's. It's if. What is it? Okay, well, I haven't even done the rest. Obviously, we don't want to show this if Twitch mode isn't enabled. But I haven't gotten to that yet, apparently. So yeah, it just shows that text above their head if they have no chatter assigned to them. Otherwise, it would show the name of the chatter, of course. So we need some other way of checking whether they're on that list or not, basically. Easy enough to write something like that, I suppose, or just to print something to the console, maybe, or I don't know. I'd rather see like the length of the list or something, just so we can know if all the humans are on it, something like that. What was I gonna do? I'm spacing out. I don't know. Let's just go to here, and instead of this, let's get. There's a nice DS list size we can repurpose for this. Unclaimed humans, global unclaimed humans. There we go. So now we'll be able to see how many humans are on that list. Or just how many entries there are on the list. How long the list is, if you will. No. Load game. Okay, there's 30 unclaimed humans on this list, so that is confusing as to why it would not be working. It is working. So is it only not working if I quit back to the main menu and then load a save? But it works if it's a fresh launch of the game? That's weird, but it's new information, I suppose. Let's put it to the test. I'm in. Let's make a new game. Then try quitting back to the main menu and then try it. It might just be some certain sequence of events, because that worked, just launching a fresh game and then loading the save, that works. But starting a new game, saving, quitting back to the main menu, and then loading the save does not work. What about loading the save in-game? That's another thing we can try. Oh my god, we have 55 humans on the unclaimed humans list. That's definitely not right, considering there's only 30 of them and only 25 of those are adults. So we have big problems. Big problems. Okay. 55. How are we getting 55? Well, if we had 30 before, we didn't have 30 before because we claimed 2 of them. We had 28. Or 23 or something, I don't know. Huh. Well, we should probably solve this one first. Why have we got 55 entries on this list? It should be 25. Okay, well, let's go to where we add them to that list, which is here. Is this something that happened because I think I loaded a save, then quit back to the main menu, then started a new game, right? What if I don't do that? What if I just start a new game? Will we still get 55? Because then we know it's something to do with loading a save. $25. 25. Okay. So it's something to do with... Right, I'm going to save and load. It's gone up by 5. What the hell? Quit back to the main menu, start a new game now. Are we going to wind up with 55 now? Probably. But why? Oh. $25. What? Okay, so I can't consistently replicate this either. But what I didn't do this time, I think last time I loaded the game from the main menu rather than in-game. Gonna make a save here. Gonna quit back to the main menu. Load game. It's gone up by 5 for some reason. Quit now. New game. Final test. Will it be back at 55 again? Probably. But why? Why would it go up by 5 when you look? Oh, shit. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. But I'm clearing the list completely. You know, normally I would have something when adding something to a list that checks that it's not already on the list. And that's good practice and generally what I do. I just haven't done it in this case because I'm a bit out of the loop. But I'm completely clearing the list. So I think is it end game? Yeah, I clear the list when we like quit the game and return to the main menu. That's 1. I clear the list when we load a save. Where is that? There, that's 2. I add the humans to the list when we start a new game. And I add the humans to the list when we load a save. The only thing I can really think to do here is just make sure that we don't add them to the list if they're already on the list. So find value. ID does not equal, no. Equals -1, right? If it's not on the list, then we can add it to the list, right? Position. Wait, no, what is this? Oh god, right. This doesn't work how I think it does it? DS list find. I think I'm looking for find index, aren't I? Right? Check the list for a value and the position within the list will be returned, or -1 if it's not on the list. So if it's not on the list, add it to the list. I don't know why it would be added multiple times, but this can at least prevent that. Let's try loading first. 30, even though it should be 25. We could forgo the list entirely. What I meant to say was we could forgo the need for a list entirely. We could just look directly at the humans and check for one that doesn't have a chatter assigned. The first one that we find that doesn't have a chatter, we just pick that one. The problem with that is that, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? No, not really. If there's none available and people still use the join command, it's just not going to do anything. We could just forgo the need for lists, which is a workaround as opposed to a fix. So we have that in our back pocket, I suppose. It would be nice to actually figure out what's going on. Did it just jump up to 55? I thought it was at 25 a second ago. Or was it at 25 and I'm just hallucinating? It's definitely saying 55 now, so I should assume that's what it was. And we had 30 when I loaded the save, which is 5 more than it should have been, but that obviously didn't get cleared. It's gone up to 85. It keeps going up. This is insane. I'm not crazy. It's going up. It's just like periodically increasing. What the fuck is happening? Yeah, somebody, I forget who it was, somebody said that I'm a danger to society because I make everyone want to make a god sim or a life sim. Don't do it. That's my advice. Just don't do it. For God's sake. Spare yourself. 113 now. What is happening? What? It just keeps going up. How is that possible? We're not spawning more humans. Or are we? No. No. They keep adding themselves. Something keeps getting added to the list. It might not even necessarily be humans. If I use a debugger, I can... Oh, how would I do that? I don't know. But if I was able to get a watch on that list, I could see what's on it. Well, I could see a bunch of gobbledygook, like a bunch of IDs. That doesn't really help me tell what they are, actually. It's possible. It is possible. I can't really see how, but maybe something else is getting added to that list. We had that problem. That was really crazy. Like, we had a thing where wolves were getting added to the list of levels for the level select screen. And there were just like these extra weird options on the end of the level select. I was like, where are these coming from? They were wolves. And it turned out that I had like I think I was adding them to like a blank list. I was adding them to a list, but not specifying which list. So it just defaulted to like the first list or something, which just happened to be that one. That was a very weird bug. But they are always getting added in batches of like 25 or 30 or something, right? So it's probably the humans, most likely. There's nothing anywhere else in my code that adds them to this list, though. It's just it's the load code and the spawn code, right? This doesn't exist anywhere else, does it? Wait a minute, DS list. Sure, if you use command leave, yeah. GUI draw, menu create. That's right, create list. DS list add global and wait, what is this? Wait, why do I have a DS list add here? Oh, this is a problem. What is this? Menu. Oh. This is I'm adding them every 60 seconds. Because we're not doing the check to see if they're already on the list. We can only add them if they're not already on the list. This is like, I used to be so strict about this. Every time I add something to the list, first I check that it's not already on the list. And just because I haven't done any programming in a while, I did take quite a big break from development because I was pretty burned out. And then I did a little bit, and then I started doing sprites. So I'm just out of the loop and I'm not sticking to my best practices, you know? That's what it is. Oh, well, we found it. That's good. So what it was doing is every 60 seconds it was adding all of the unclaimed humans to the list again, basically. What this is supposed to do is add the... Nope. How do I explain this? This is the thing that unassigns the humans if the person that had claimed them has left chat. That's what it is intended to do. And it does do that, but it also does this as well. Not anymore, it doesn't. Okay. We got there. We got there in the end. Okay, we should be good now. We shouldn't have any more weird stuff going on. There might still be some weird stuff going on, let's be honest. But let's give it a test. And that's it. I've got to work out in like 3 minutes or something soon. So we'll just wrap this up, make sure it's hopefully all working. And I'll go lift some weights and keep working on this later on this evening. You can't join on the loading screen, dude. I know you're excited, but you've got to wait for it to finish loading. I can leave the simulation running. Not whilst I'm lifting. I'm going to stream that. So I don't know why I said that. I can't leave the simulation running, and I won't leave the simulation running. Deal with it. He's in. The question is, now I saved the game before you joined. I don't save and load chatters right now. I probably should, right? Yeah, because we want it to be the same. If I load a save, we want all of the chatters to still have possession of the same humans. And if they've left chat, then the regular timeout thing, that's a good term for it, timeout, would time them out after 60 seconds. He's in the game. And then you can do command and then whichever gift you want to be, to pick your gift. That's how it works right now. No, not join again, like command hunter, command guard, for example. Like that. Because you can only have one person at once. $29. Why has it gone up to 29? Is it still happening? Something weird's going on still, isn't it? Fuck. It was 24 a second ago. There we go. Chill guy selected. It's gone up to 30 now. It's still going up. So they're still being added to this list somehow. Ah, and it's unassigned you from this one. Ah, okay. Something weird's going on. Why has it done that? I'm guessing you are still in chat. I see you on the users list. God damn it, dude. So it's like this is not working, basically. Still. Global chatters, what's wrong with that? Array is expected, yeah, but the array is stored in that variable. Maybe I should pass in the array. Can I do that? I think so. That is an array. I get the same error even if I do it this way. Maybe I should make this function inline again. It seemed to be working yesterday when it was inline. At least I thought it was. Man, it's annoying. Oh my god, it just went up to 29. Oh, I think I have an idea. Oh, shit. Well, 29 is 5. 29 is 24 plus 5. And there's 5 children. And there's nothing preventing the code getting run on children. Even though it shouldn't be. Yeah, I should have thought of that, eh? Right. Because we're just doing with object human. First thing we need to know is if age is greater than or equal to 7, which makes it an adult, which are the only ones that should be selectable, claimable, whatever you want to call it. Right, that's important for one. Aha. Oh. And then when we load a save, again, I'm doing this on all humans instead of only adults. So that one as well. Okay, it's already, it works like that in the spawn system because these are adults and these are children, and we just don't do it here. We only do it here. Okay, we're getting closer. We're getting somewhere. Also, I noticed I didn't get removed that time. I didn't get unassigned. Did not get unassigned that time. So possibly the changes that I made to that function are working. Possibly. Okay. Join up, guys. It helps me test it. So far, so good. Oh, no extra humans getting added to that list this time. You know what? I bet loading still doesn't work, because when we perform that check to add them to the list, I think they will probably have an age of 0, actually, because they've only just been created. I could be wrong. No, actually, no. I think it does happen after that age gets loaded in, so we should be good, hopefully. But I'm just saying there's a chance that it might not work still. But this seems good. So I do need to make it so it saves and loads the chatter. Also, it'd be nice if we could color the names as well, but I'm not. I think I need like another extension to do like better text, essentially, so I can do that. Because I can't, you know, it's really handy that I can just pull the hex code straight from the Twitch message or whatever. to get the color of your name in chat. But GameMaker's built-in text stuff sucks, and it like can't take a hex code. It only has this like small selection of built-in colors. But there's other text extensions that you can add to Twitch, to add to GameMaker, which will probably do what we need. Although I can't guarantee I'm going to do that anytime soon, because that's definitely polish, right? Just fancy text and stuff. There's definitely more important things that need doing before we get fancy text. But I'm going to try and save and load. Check we have no issues there. Well, no, that's actually what we would expect, because I didn't save the chatter. Didn't save myself, if you will. Save yourselves. So it's gone back to 25 unclaimed humans, which is great, actually. And if I quit to the main menu and load from the main menu, still 25, that's very positive. And if I quit to the main menu and start a new game, are we going to have any issues there? I think I might have cracked the code, boys. I think we might be onto a winner. Yeah, I just got to update the save load system so that it saves and loads chatters, basically, so that everything will be. Hey, Jury, welcome back. Or is it Yuri? I can't. I've forgotten. I'm sorry. I think it's Yuri. "25 unclaimed humans. Beautiful. We're just doing some Twitch integration so that you can like, if you're watching on Twitch, you can pick one of the humans and assign their gift yourself, and like you can become a member of the tribe, if you will. Like this. I'll do command join, and then I join here. I have my little dude, and then I can do like command hunter to make him a hunter, and so everyone can everyone can be the tribe. No Twitch account. Oh, it could be time. Could be time for a Twitch account. Yeah, and we just had a few bugs with it, but they seem to be okay now. The question is, does it work after saving and loading, really? That's where we were having issues before. I have a feeling it's still going to be broken, because I didn't really do anything to address that. Can I join now? Oh, wow. I can. And it made me a hunter again. Wait, did it? Or was that one still a hunter? Let's try leave. Join. Okay, now it picked a different one. I think it might have just coincidentally picked the same one. Interesting. I guess that would make sense. If they were saved in the same order that they were created, then that one would have been added to the list first. Okay. Well, I don't know how I fixed it, but I seem to have also fixed the problem where it stopped working after loading a save, which is really nice. So I think we might actually be done, if you can believe that. We're not done. I just remembered, yeah, the last thing I need to do is save and load the chatter, isn't it? So, object human. I think this will work, right? I just want to check my Twitch commands. I'm pretty sure it works, right? Yeah, all it does is check for a match between your username and the username stored in this chatter variable, so this will work. Yeah, it's so that when Twitch streamers play the game, their chatters can participate by being the tribe, really. Each chatter gets to pick a human and choose which gift they assign to it, and then the streamer gets to play as God and do all of the God stuff. So chat will have to coordinate themselves to work together as a tribe, or burn the camp to the ground. I did start toying with the idea of a traitor or something yesterday because people were making Amogus jokes. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's a really perfect game for Twitch. It's an optional feature. You don't have to play it like that, but you can if you want to. Yeah, so we save that here and then just add it to the load code and then we're done. Nice. It only took about 3 days. It's very, I mean, I was just going in on a whim really just to play around with Twitch integration. But surprisingly, got it done in 3 days. It wasn't really that well, only because Grog helped me, to be honest. But it really wasn't that bad. Yeah, it's like when I did the procedural generation stuff. No, Grog Dev, the streamer. He's already using this Twitch extension for GameMaker for his game. So I asked him about it, and he was really helpful. There we go, that's the save load system updated. Jesus Christ, dude, why is my mouth so dry? I think I was on hard drugs or something. Where's the YouTube integration? I know, right? I don't think that's a thing. I don't think YouTube does that. You're gonna have to migrate over to Twitch. Well, you don't have to, of course. I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but I think it might be a lot harder than with Twitch, because Twitch has built an API to make it, user-friendly for people to do this. But if you wanted to build something yourself to like monitor your YouTube chat, you probably could do that. We got a pretty nice nearby stream there. That's convenient. The manual for the game? I haven't even finished the game yet. You think I've written a manual for it? I haven't even made a tutorial yet. What do you mean, the manual for the game engine? Or for the Twitch API? Okay, I'm just going to disable that unclaimed humans thing so we don't see it on the UI anymore. But that's basically it. You know, if we had more of us in chat, you could all, like, pick a human and assign a gift and build the camp and survive and all that good stuff. Right. No, I plan on making a tutorial eventually, but I need to finish the game first. Hopefully I'll have the tutorial done for the demo, though. I think that would be quite good, actually, because then we could have 2 levels in the demo. One which is the tutorial, and one which is a real level. And that's probably enough content. And if both of those take place in the same biome, then I don't have to make as much content, like sprites and stuff. Yeah, all we have now is the help menu, which explains everything, but that's not a very good way to do it, is it? Eventually we'll have a proper tutorial that takes you through everything slowly, and you can gradually learn it before the game sort of lets you off on your own. Yeah, it's better than nothing for now, right? Oh, Winger's worshipping. He's worshipping. Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really cool once I can, you know, get the demo into some folks' hands, and especially streamers, and see how they like it. But we've still got quite a long way to go before then. So next thing I want to do is finish all the human sprites. That's the next job. And there's about 6 or 7 to go still, I think. He's making a Twitch account. He's doing it. Alright, I'll give you 5. I'm going to grab a drink then. I'll be right back. I'm back. Hey. Hey, Yuri. Okay, what's everyone doing? Guess winger left. Oh, there you are. So the real challenge is, can Twitch chat get the store built before we all starve to death? That's the question. I'll be a hunter as well. That's what we need. We need that fur. Oh, there's Isaac. Oh, I think they left again. Yeah, we kept dying yesterday because everyone was too busy trying to boink each other. Top left. Breeder, carpenter, drummer, fisher, forager, guard, hunter, shaman, water-bearer, worshipper. Yeah, I need to do something eventually to like maybe post it automatically into Twitch chat or something like that. Although I don't want it to be too spammy. You know, I don't think it doesn't cancel your current action when you change gift, because ordinarily the player would have had to pick them up, which would cancel their action. But now that chat can change them, it doesn't. So yeah, I do need to fix that. Basically return to idle on chat gift change, something like that. I'll write it down. It'll be nice when I've finished all of the art for them. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. But right now I need to go lift some weights, so I'll be back to the game development later on today. That's all for now. I'll just push this to the repository. I don't want to lose it. So yeah, when I get back, I will I will make them return to idle when you change their gift. And what was the other thing I needed to do? I can't remember. Possibly update the menus to include all of this new stuff. Thanks, dude. Good to see you on Twitch. Thanks for playing. All right, have a good one. Take it easy. Okay, cool. Everything is backed up. All right. Just me, or is this webcam very blue? Why do I look so blue? I don't know. Okay. So I'm gonna switch over to the phone, and I'll be back in a few minutes to do some lifting. Feel free to stick around for that. I will not be streaming that on YouTube because I can't multi-stream from the phone. And then I'll be back to the game development later on this evening, assuming I don't fall asleep. Alright, thanks again, and I'll